So, the congregation of Jehovah's Witness, they condone this. And so what has happened is that CPS has come in and taken our kids. You asked me how? By Nona Washington, the princess, which she's done through the years. She's called CPS on my sister, Carolyn, who they took Esperanza from her. And she told my sister, told CPS that she had mental illness, but this never panned out, which Esperanza was being molested by Joe Washington. And to get rid of Esperanza, when the case, well, let me go back a bit. She filed the case. She called CPS. Nona Washington did. Called CPS on her own on her daughter, which to come and take Esperanza from her, and which they did. And when because Esperanza at the time was in Oklahoma, there was before she left for Oklahoma, there was a lot of things that were going on were not right. My sister had put Esperanza in therapy, and my mother would continue to come up there and give her candy and try to hush her, it was just something not right. And so they took Esperanza from my sister. They wouldn't give her to my mother because there were so many allegations about Joe Washington being a predator and allegations and everything. So Esperanza was not to come over to their house unless it was supervised. She was not to be over there at her house. And so Esperanza grew up. When she turned 18, well, when she came out here, they gave her to Kathy Washington. Kathy Washington couldn't handle Esperanza. They were fighting, and Kathy just didn't have no kids, and Kathy wasn't stable mentally because after that, the procedure, she was just never right again. And so I had custody of Esperanza. And Esperanza went to Logan, and she was doing good in school and everything. And then when she turned 18, my mother lured her over there to their house. Okay, and there was one incident I remember because I'm a flight attendant. She, when I came home, she was there, and my mother had beat her with the bat in her hand, and in her head was bleeding. And I didn't see what happened, but Logan saw what happened, and they called the police. And I asked her what had happened, and she said Nona thought she was sleeping with her husband. Now, if you would thought that your grandchild is sleeping with your husband, then wouldn't you beat your husband with the bat, because that's nothing but a child? Okay, but Miss Nona Washington signed up to get rid of Raza, signed up for her to go to the military. She signed the papers for her to go. Her and Joe Washington signed the papers for her to go to the military. Runza went off to Chicago, and she didn't her conscience bothered her because she was raised Jehovah's Witness. But yet, we don't take political sides, but Nona signed her up. And the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness, they were fine with that. That was okay with them, since it was getting rid of the problem of the molestation issues. When Ronza came back, she was pregnant, and Nona Washington wanted her to have an abortion, but Ronza wouldn't do it. Then I had kids, which was Niles and Dalen. And Niles, one day we went over there. Ronza had just had the baby, Ayana, and we went over there to check on her. And I was telling Niles to do his homework, and I pulled Niles' ear. And so Niles got in my face, and Nona called the police on me, okay? She called the police and called CPS on me. So CPS came and got my kid, and I haven't seen him for 5 years due to this incident. But Nona Washington has a history of calling CPS. I have 2 brothers. She called CPS on them due to this molestation thing, because she knows her man is a molester. Okay, where there's smoke, there's fire. Is everybody lying? Leah, Samantha, Pandora, Carol, Eileen, are they all lying? Everybody's lying on Mr. Washington. I even caught Mr. Joe Washington in the mall with another woman, okay, buying her perfume. Sister Washington seems to feel that she's going to enter into the kingdom, and I am not, or none of my sisters are. But recently, she's called CPS on Esperanza. Now Esperanza has three girls, where she has called CPS She has called CPS on them. What has happened is that she has had her girl Kathy take the two oldest ones, and Esperanza didn't do anything, to get her kids taken, and she's fighting to get them back. Um, she called the police on her 25 times. And I think that's obsessive. I thought Jehovah's Witnesses are supposed to be helpful and supposed to be helping and love thy neighbor, okay? And so she's just about like a Baal worshiper. You know how they eat their kids? They were eating their kids back in the Bible days. That's what I amount her to. And so Naomi came down to take the little baby. Naomi has never had any kids. Kathy wouldn't even, Kathy stated that she wouldn't have Naomi watch her dog if she had one, because Naomi is so mean and she doesn't need to be having kids. And I think something's wrong with her upstairs. But they feel like they're going to enter into the kingdom because the Jehovah's Witnesses, the elders at the Kingdom Hall, have not stopped this over the centuries. This has been going on for decades, centuries. That they have not stopped. They have not stopped these issues, this molestation issues. And they tell me they don't want to talk to me about Niles being taken or any of the situation, the molestation situation, because they're scared they may get sued. Well, I can understand that, because when you go on a search engine, you put in Jehovah's Witness and molestation, oh my goodness, there's so many lawsuits. And maybe it's because the way they handle things, maybe they should get things taken care of. And if somebody is molesting a child, it's a child, then they need to be disfellowshipped from the congregation. It's just not a forgiven sin, because I thought they're supposed to be there to protect the congregation. But as a neighbor and caring for the community, I would want you guys to know to be aware of your kids being very, I know there are kids that play down Carmen Way and things, and I think the community needs to know about there's a predator in your neighborhood. Once again, I'd like for you to look at the website, www.freewebs.com/come-look-see, and you'll see the whole full story. Thank you for your support and time.